That is so important. I can't speak about this enough because for a lot of athletes, especially I always say for the black young male, you are that meal ticket out. And for a lot of us, we have been trained to be gladiators. We've always kind of had what we've always known what we wanted to do. We've had a roadmap to where we wanted to go. But a lot of us, you have to realize that only 1% of college athletes play professional in any sport. And for a lot of people, they don't know what to do because their identity is tied so long to their sport. So I can only feel for them, and it does lead to depression and anxiety and a lack of just everything going on in your life.
A lot of athletes struggle from making the jump from being an athlete to a quote unquote regular citizen because of lack of knowledge. And if you think about it, you go to college, and if you're a Division 1, Division 2, Division 3 player, you have to take certain courses depending upon the schedule of the university. You're honestly just property. You're there to help them win games. So they're going to give you a schedule of classes that's going to keep your GPA up so you can be eligible to play. We expect a lot from.
Isn't that the truth? And honestly, I'm glad somebody finally said it. He said it in a pretty interesting way, but he was right. A lot of athletes, at the end of the day, to the university, you're property. You're just something that they can rent for 4 years, five if you stay long enough, and then you're tossed aside. They'll feed your schedule with things that are easy to digest, so you are eligible. You see, it seems like the team is doing academically successful, but a lot of guys are communication majors, Africana studies, econ, and those aren't anything wrong with those majors, but they don't produce anything after you graduate, or you don't even know what to do with them. So honestly, like it's a shame to the universities and to the teams for honestly setting these young men up for failure.
Our athletes in high school sometimes, and we don't think about all the things they have to do. They have to travel through neighborhoods who are dangerous. They have to also practice for 2 3 hours a day, go home and do their homework or study habits for another 2 hours, be in pain and trying. You can't intern because you have winter conditioning. You can't intern in the spring because you have spring football. You can't intern in the summer because summer camp leads into fall ball. So if you can't intern and you spend 4 years in college without any work experience, you graduate with a degree with no experience. You can't get a job right out of college. That's why so many athletes leave college lost because for the first time in their life, there's no one telling them what time to be somewhere, where to be, and how to get there.
Wow, that one was hard. That one was hard. I can say from experience that is 100%, 110% true. I remember leaving college and I played a stint in the NFL for a bit, but when I came back and I started doing the job application process, there was a big issue. I had nothing on my resume. All I had on my resume was team captain, all conference, all these academic accomplishments that had no real world transitional success. I could not use that conceptually in the real world. Job employers do not care about how many tackles that you had in a season. They don't care about if you led the team in sacks. It's a cool topic to bring up in the interview, but it doesn't hold any weight because it doesn't give you anything for you to use in a job. And that was something I struggled with because at that point I had nothing to put on there. I had to work a minimum wage job just to make ends meet from playing college football with a full marketing and business degree. That says a lot.
The culture around football creates this thought process in your brain that everyone is a gladiator, everyone plays hurt. There needs to be some kind of evaluation prior to their participation in serious, league sports. I'm going through my rookie year in the NFL and I'm hurting. I'm 165 pounds, I'm 5'11. I'm taking pain meds to get through practice. I'm taking pain meds to get through games. And your body ultimately becomes dependent upon the pain meds because you feel like if I don't have these, I can't function. Back in the 70s.
Man, that is so true. That's so true. It got so bad for me that I was getting total oil shots. I used to take four ibuprofens just to get through the pain of practice. Just practice. This is not even the games. You know how uncomfortable and how hard that is to sit in your locker and have to pop pills just to get through a 2 hour practice? I know for a lot of dudes, they say the best ability is availability. So if you're not practicing, you're not playing. And it's a little bit different playing professionally because at that point now you are an asset to the team instead of you're an employee. Like if you cannot perform, they'll find somebody to replace you. And for a lot of guys, you're undrafted. You don't have an opportunity to really miss any days. Playing professionally, I saw a day where a guy missed 2 days because he had a back spasm. In college, they'll be able to treat you and kind of get you on a plan, but playing professionally, you don't get that much time. Your leash is a little bit shorter, and essentially got cut, replaced. Somebody was in his jersey in his locker, and he was never spoken about again. And it sucks because that is lifelonging. It's not something that you can just kind of get away with. It has so many effects on your future moving forward.
When you were injured, they trained my knee, they gave me cortisone shot, everything felt good until the next day when the pain was killing me.
Not all problems are going to be solved with just surgery, physical therapy, and drugs. And they drill it into you from the time you're a rookie until you retire that, yo, you're expendable. I was blessed because I never saw myself as a professional athlete. I'm undersized. And I always wanted to do things with my life. But I feel like because I felt like I wanted to do things with my life, I had another purpose.
Hmm.
So when football was taken from me, I didn't feel like I lost who I was. I think that if they made it mandatory for all athletes to intern during the spring and intern during the summer, as much money as these schools are making, they have to find time to make sure athletes intern. All the athletes that I know that either interned or while they were in the NFL utilized the NFL's resources for outreach to do other careers have all blossomed when they graduated. I mean, a friend of mine, Marcus Colster, went through the master's program and he started his own business and he's making tons of money. But he's also, as soon as he retired, he dove right into his second business.
I'm glad he said that because that is so true. I think a lot of universities should be a mandate because for so long for us, we're playing football 24/7. Is football is not just a fall sport because after fall you have spring ball. Yeah, and right at the spring ball goes right into summer workouts and summer conditioning goes right into fall camp. So you never really get any time off to do any kind of extracurriculars. And I'm mandating the fact that they should allow players to find internship opportunities allows them to create identities outside of their sport because regardless at the end of the day you're not a football player, you're just somebody who's good at football. And I had to remind myself and a lot of people about that because at some point you can get so sucked up into the fallacy that all you can do is run, jump, tackle, catch, throw touchdowns, and then you become lost. But if you're allowed to see yourself outside of a football field in a helmet and some pads, you'll start to realize that you have other interests. So when you do end up retiring or, get quitting the game, you're not left high and dry and you'll have experience that can carry you forward. Just like you said, Marcus Colston and a couple of other buddies who took advantage of those opportunities because you're just so singularly focused on the right now, the right here. I'm a player, all what football can do for me. But you have to realize that at some point you're gonna have to say, now what's next?
When football is taken away and you have nothing, you feel lost. But if they made it mandatory for all athletes to do something else other than just play football, get the network, reach out to people, I think that would help with some of the mental illness and depression because athletes are almost like superheroes in our community. There are millions of athletes at every level, high school, college, and football, who go through the same thing during this transition. And it's normal. It's normal to feel this way and get help moving forward.
Yeah, I'm glad this video was brought to light because at the end of the day, it just shows that as athletes, we're so prone to be worried about the now of you're playing your sport and you're so ingrained in it because you're training so hard, but you have to be thinking about future focus because at some point your career is going to end. Whether it's through injury or through happy ending, regardless, you won't always be an athlete. You won't always be in the sports world, and developing those relationships and developing those experiences and interests outside of the game is going to only pay dividends in the future. So I'm hoping any athlete that's watching this, they really take a time to really find out what you like besides your sport, because at some point it's going to happen when you're not being played again.